How many roads must a man walk down?
I wanted to be a cartoonist ever since I read Calvin and Hobbes at the age of 11. Before then I knew I wanted to be an artist, but then I knew I wanted to be a cartoonist. All my work either has to make people laugh and be funny or be very inspirational. A lot of times I collaborate with my dad, who's a comic genius who just can't draw, so we put our heads together. The main goal is for my family to work together to create these comics. We all love doing it. That's ultimately what I try to do in my work, just feel the happiness, the warmth that I feel about my family, about Judaism, you know, whether the comics themselves are Jewish or Jewish. You know, have the Mel Brooks feel, the feel of the old school Jewish humor, but with a modern day twist. I just love looking on the bright side of life, because I say, what's the point of having gone through something difficult without learning from it or teaching others through it? Everything I do, I take the old school values and make it hip for today's generation. I have a Jewish humor calendar that was my senior project at the School of Visual Arts. A yearly spritz of Jewish bits. Old Jewish jokes from the Borscht Belt era, that Henny Youngman and you know, the Rodney Dangerfield types, these are jokes that are just as relevant today, that I grew up listening to my parents, my grandparents, and the younger generation. You know, it's not something that speaks to them. It's too old school. So what I did is that I took the old jokes and I put them into a comics format. I felt that there was a lack of hip, cool Jewish calendars that I could put on my wall. So here on the tops, I have old Jewish jokes that have been circulating forever. I used my cartooning style to breathe a new life into them. Here you have a grandmother and her grandson. They're at a beach, and the grandson says, "Grandma, look at me!" And the grandmother says, "Shmuel, be careful of the tide!" And the grandmother sees her grandson he's succumbed to the tide, and she goes, "Oh no, Shmuel!" And the grandmother goes, "Help, please, my grandson can't swim!" And the lifeguard says, "Don't worry, ma'am, we'll save him." Here the lifeguard brings the grandson, and he goes, "Here he is, safe and sound." But the grandma doesn't look too happy. So the lifeguard says, "Excuse me, ma'am, we saved your grandson. Is everything all right?" And the grandmother said, "He had a hat!" That's every Jewish grandmother I know. Now I'm dealing with, I've dealt with such topics as agunot, women who can't get a get from their husbands. I was approached last year by Inbral Freund-Novik, and she had gotten a grant from ROI, the ROI Summit, the Lynn Schusterman Foundation sponsored program. And she was looking for a cartoonist to tell one woman's success story and how she got her get after years of bitter struggle. We launched earlier this year, in 2009, our 3-page comic called Unmasked, the Ariella Dodon story, which told the tale of Ariella Dodon, and who's an amazing, amazing person, and how she got her get. And, you know, we launched it on time for International Agunot Day, which is now what Tanit Esther has become known as. We launched it online. We thought, okay, great, that's it. We have it online, we promoted the cause, we got the grant, and everything's done. And what we didn't count on was the reactions that people had sent us. You know, thousands of people came to the site, and we started getting fan mail, not just from the Jewish community, which is what the target audience, but I sent it out to the cartoonist community, and next thing I know, that the cartoonist community, they're blogging about it, they're showing how you know, how this comic promotes this issue and, you know, Jewish cause, but it's something that's universal, because it's ultimately about getting out of an abusive relationship, which is something that many, many women, myself included, you know, have gotten out of, you know, and it struck a chord. And now Inbal and I are working on developing the Unmasked Comics project, in which we're looking for inspirational stories of social change, in which we'll look for organizations who want to sponsor a success story that they have, and we'll want to tell their tales in these comics so that they can use it for PR pieces, because there's so much on the internet, so much out there, and how do you stand out? The comic. We want to create an anthology of these social change comics, sort of like Chicken Soup for the Soul for today's generation through comics. Well, as a cartoonist, I always call cartoonists people artists, because you really have to know, you're not an artist for art's sake. You're not just taking a canvas and splashing some work on it and saying that this is art. You have to understand how people function to write a good script, to write a good joke. The connection between making people laugh and their emotions is, you know, they're all emotions. I mean, you laugh, it's an emotion, you cry, it's an emotion. You think that's even an emotion. So, you know, they kind of go hand in hand. I like to pick universal themes. I don't like to limit an audience. Even if something is Jewish-based, I do it in a way like Mel Brooks, that yes, there are Jewish jokes, but everybody can relate to it. Whether it's a family issue, you know, a relationship issue, you know, personal issues, athletic issues, whatever the case, I want to make the world a happier place, one cartoon at a time.
This is hardcore Florentine. At a period that I played a lot, you know, perform with a million bands. I think the thing I love to do the most is to sit right here and to do whatever I feel like on the computer. I really cruise around the internet a lot, you know, searching for anything, anything creative. Then I express myself through the internet. It's the evolution of music and technology.